What's up, you guys? It's Navelow here, giving you the third episode of the Legends Lounge podcast. This podcast can be found on all streaming platforms like Spotify and iTunes, and also including a visual version on YouTube. Today, for the third episode, we have a very special guest, Draynilla. What's going on, my brother?
Yes, sir. What's good, man? Thank you for having me, bro.
Yes, sir. As always, as always. So if you guys are new to the podcast, we basically just talk about everything Apex oriented, and then towards the end of the episode, we always just try and get to know the guest a little bit better. So, Dre, to kind of kick us off and start us off, what got you into gaming?
Ooh, what got me into gaming? Oh, I've been gaming ever since I was like 3-4 years old, if I'm being completely honest. And I have a picture on my Instagram of me like playing on the computer when I was super young. But I think mainly my father. My father got me into gaming. We started playing games together, like on the Sega Genesis, on like the Nintendo 64. I used to play a lot of like Earthworm Jim and like Sonic and stuff like that. You know, we've also played Space Invaders and shit like that. But then also my brothers. So I grew up like kind of like in a gaming household, you know, overall. I have 4 brothers and they all gamed, you know, so I grew up watching them play like Resident Evil, you know, Smash Bros, Call of Duty, pretty much any game, any mainstream game that you could think of. You know what I'm saying? So watching them made me want to play games, and they were so much older than I was. So whenever like, you know, they weren't, you know, gaming, they were doing homework, or if they were even at school and I had a day off, or like I got picked up from school or something like that, I'm instantly, you know, hopping on the PS2 and stuff like that. My brothers, they used to really be into like JRPGs, like Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts and stuff like that. And so those were some of like my fondest memories growing up, you know, playing those type of games with them. But yeah, definitely my dad and my family, my brothers, they got me into gaming heavy, bro.
Did they ever
I really started gaming?
Did they ever do like any kind of like social media stuff, like as in like YouTube, or like record any of the stuff, or did they just like play casually?
No, they pretty much all played casually. So like they didn't do any type of like recording or like content creation or anything like that. But they did somewhat. They played like half casually, half competitive. So when it came to like MMOs, so like they used to play a lot of Final Fantasy 11, right? And also this game called Conquer Online. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Yeah.
But they always tried to be like the top of the leaderboards in terms of like PvP, or like the best stats, or like the best gear or whatever. So they really like took that serious. But in terms of single player games, no, they played that casually. But when it came to like online games, they always wanted to be like the best. And I remember my oldest brother, he really grinded Conquer Online when it was popping, like back in the day, like 10-15 years ago, and he was, I think, like top 10 on his server. So he really like took that shit serious.
Did you guys ever like do split screen and like have any like kind of like tournaments in the house? Because like you said, your dad, like he also played a little bit. Did you ever have like game nights with like the family or anything, or not really?
Yeah, well, we didn't have like any like actual game nights like with the entire family. It was just like me with my brothers, and then like my parents would kind of just like watch and like supervise and stuff like that. But we would run up the Mario Party, bro. Let me tell you, the Mario Party were the days, man. The old school one on the GameCube. Oh, I would get my shit worked, because my brothers were always just so much better than I was in terms of like just skill level, and because they were older and I was still so young. But let me tell you, I have fun doing it, bro. I was never like one of those kids where if I lost, I'd start crying and shit like that and kind of be like a bad sport, you know. I always just had fun regardless, you know. And that's how I am now. Like I never really take things too serious. Like even if I lost, I'd be like, oh man, and we just play again. Like I was just happy to be playing with them and just like, you know, having that type of like social interaction, or like spending time with my brothers like that, you know. Like I didn't see it like that when I was younger, but like looking back, like I was just happy to be there and be a part of it, you know.
All right, if you played Mario Party, right? Because you always whenever you're playing that game, you gotta select your character. Who did you select? That's the real question. That's like a personality type shit.
I was always Shy Guy.
Shy Guy. Ooh.
Yeah, Shy Guy, bro. I was that boy right there. My brother, he would play Bowser. Another one would play Luigi, and then I think another one played Koopa. Yeah, Koopa.
Bro, when we had our game nights, because we would always play on the N64, right? So we can only, it's a family of 4, so we had just the right amount of like players to be able to play. So mom would always choose like Peach or Daisy. It just depended upon the day. I mean, that's just classic shit. Dad would choose like Bowser or some shit. I forget what my brother chose, but I always chose Toad, man. Toad was my guy.
Toad was fire. Yeah,
I
Toad
love
was sick too.
That man is just
Toad
so
was hella
fucking
cool.
fire, dude. I love Toad.
My other brother, he would pick Toad sometimes too if he wasn't playing Koopa.
What's the not Wario? What's the other guy? the purple.
Waluigi.
Yeah, that dude. I love playing him too. He was just so weird, yo.
I know, bro. He looked so goofy with his little mustache and everything, and how lanky he was too.
That's what, bro. I felt so connected to him. I'm like, yo, that's a tall, lanky looking weird dude. I like this guy.
That's me, exactly.
Dude, I'm in the game. I'm in the game.
I'm in the game. They made a character out for me.
Dude, I love that shit. That was peak gaming. No bullshit.
Really
that was peak.
Yeah,
that was peak.
No real microtransactions. No like predatory ways to try to get you to spend money. It was just good fun, bro. You know.
And every game that came out then was just, it's as polished as it's gonna get. There's no like automatic updates like after like 6 months of the game. They could just implement something.
You got the full product.
Yeah, that's what
you
I'm
got
saying.
the entire thing,
bro. Honestly, I don't really care for Nintendo like games all too much anymore, just because like I like shooters and whatnot. But Nintendo's undefeated, man. They got some of the best music, best like games, bro. Undefeated. Did
you play like any of like the sports games growing up, like Wii Tennis or or Mario Tennis or Mario Golf or whatever?
It started out as Nintendo 64 like Mario Party, and then it eventually went to Wii Sports with the whole family. With like, dude, my dad on boxing was undefeated, dude. He would be whacking it, bro. I swear he would be mad coming home from work, and then he'd be like, "Yo, get on boxing Wii Sports right now. I'm running your pocket."
Get on boxing. It's time.
Everybody had their game. I did baseball was my shit, bowling was my brother's, and then boxing was my dad's. Like that was kind of how it was. So we would do like a circuit thing. So it was like who could win as many games, because like if we were to only play boxing, my dad's, he's undefeated. He ain't gonna ever lose. Nobody's gonna win in the family. So we had to do each and every sport that like Wii Sports offered, and figured out like who could like
who was the best at
best at everything. So it was like that was so funny. But like my brother, he would cheese the whole family with bowling, because like if you like hold the buttons like a certain way or something, you could almost always get a strike or some shit like that. I forget exactly what it was, but he would just cheese
I think I know what you're talking about.
Like holding the back button, because you have the like A and B on the front, and then the little back button. If you hold that like a certain way and like twist it, I don't know what he did, but he would cheese everybody with that. But that was
strike every time.
Yeah, and you can unlock like the different colored balls and everything too.
Yeah,
that was fire.
Yeah, my dad and my mom, they used to play tennis a lot, like IRL. And so like whenever we would boot up like Wii Sports, that was their go-to. You know what I'm saying? And I would always get worked because they would take it so serious too. Like they would just have the stance and everything ready to go. And they're like, oh, you know what I'm saying? They would be sending it, bro. And they would be like, oh, and they would send it down and it would fly up. I'm like, oh, I can't even keep up, bro, with my little ass. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, Dad, why are you trying so hard? You know, bro, they would go hard, bro.
Everybody
so serious.
Whenever you're throwing your whole body into it, that's when you're in the game. You're in the zone. That's unbreakable. You're in that shit.
Even with volleyball too, like my mom loved volleyball, and I think she played it growing up. So she would like take it so serious. She'd like throw it up in the air and just like, she would be grunting and everything. I'm like, I can't keep up. Why are you taking it so serious? And like, I used to be like more of a heavier kid growing up. I was the fat kid growing up, you know? So like during these times, I'm huffing and puffing in the living room, bro, dying. I'm like after about 3 games, I'm like, I'm done. I need to take a rest. I need to take a breather.
Bro,
they were trying so damn hard.
Peak gaming right there, no bullshit.
I know, peak for sure.
All right, last question before we get into like all the actual Apex stuff. If you had to pick one console, and this can even include PC, a little cop out answer, but you can include it. What's the best console in terms of like overall like variety of like the games that you can select, the controller itself, the longevity, problems with overheating or anything like that? Like what console you picking?
Ooh, if I had to choose, I'm doing it for nostalgic purposes, and also because the memories that I made on that console with Xbox 360. That's fair. That was peak console gaming for me, bro. Like I think I had my like actual real socialization and real start with just overall gaming and just like the world that we live in on the 360, you know, with Halo, with Call of Duty, with Madden, you know, everything. Like I feel like the the 360 was like the elite console back in the day, and like just everything that you could do with it, like you could jailbreak it, but then sometimes you get the red ring of death, like all these different things, and like the mics back in the day. So like I would beg my parents to buy me a better mic because I used to be a rager. I used to be a squeaker rager back in the day. So I would break controllers, I would break mics over Call of Duty and shit like that. So I'd always beg them to buy me like the better ones and shit like that. And then I also begged my dad for like 3 months straight to buy me an HD PVR, if you remember what that is.
Yes.
I begged him, bro, for 3 months straight. And then he finally got me one, and I instantly became like the coolest kid in school because everybody wanted to play with me now. And I was actually playing with like bigger people. Like I was playing like people from like Obey and like Soar and like sometimes FaZe people. And like I would come to middle school and be like, yeah, I played with FaZe Fakey last night. They'd be like, whoa. Everyone thought it was so cool.
Dude, I never got the HD PVR. That one looks really nice, but I got the
I begged them.
The Roxio. My dad, he would not pay for that. He wouldn't pay for that shit. I was like, dude, can you please get it for me? Can you please get it for me? Like, can you get it for me for Christmas? And he'd be like, yeah, sure. And he would just tell me that to shut up. He would be like, dude, stop asking. Christmas would roll around. I'm like, where's the Roxio? He's like, what Roxio? I forgot about that. My bad. I'll get it for you next Christmas. So I'm like, dude, I'm catching on. He's not getting it. I had to pay for it, dude. But dude, damn, that's the real struggle. It's like the what was it called? The RCA cables, the connectors. Instead of like using the HDMI, you had the red, white, and blue connectors. That's the real shit right there. That's the real shit. I
know. I remember the first time I ever like hooked 2 and 2 together, and I had like the HD PVR to like my laptop, and I had my gameplay from the 360 recorded on my laptop. I literally I had a fucking revelation, bro. I was like, what? Like I was like 10 years old.
Dude, it was so
sick. What the fuck? I was like, I can get my gameplay in great quality to my laptop and then like edit this. Like I kid you not, bro. I had a field day. I fell in love with I think like just overall content creation like in that moment, you know?
Dude,
that was the coolest thing ever.
It was so sick because like I when I was younger, I wasn't able to have like consoles in my room because my brother's 5 years older. So he eventually like just like over time he was able to gain more and more like abilities to be able to do different things. So he at the age of like 18, 16 or something like that, or 15 around there, he was able to get his own like console in his room with a TV and stuff, and I wasn't able to get that. So he brought all the good consoles that I wanted to play in his room. And like so whenever he's like at work or at school, I would always rush in there with my laptop, my Roxio, plugging everything in, and then I would have no idea when he's coming home. So I would I would hear like the door like close downstairs, and I would have to be like, oh shit, I gotta turn this off, gotta unplug this, plug this in. Dude, it was always the most awkward like stares from him, like, dude, what the hell are you doing in my room? I'm like,
what are you doing?
Oh, I was looking outside at the bird, dude. I don't know, it was a cool bird. Why you got a laptop? Dude, I'm trying to record the bird with the laptop, man. Take some pictures and stuff. But before that,
I used to play this game on my brother's computer because like my parents like they would buy like computers or like PC or consoles like for the whole family, like all my brothers.
Yeah.
And I remember like I would play this game called Rumble Fighter back on like computer on PC, and I would play it when I got home from school because I was still like I think in elementary, like early elementary, like 2nd or 3rd grade, and I would get home at like around noon, but my brother wouldn't get home till around 2-3 p.m. So for those like that little window, I would play that game. But then where our PC was set up, it was pretty much like in the kitchen/living room, but it was right next to our front door. So I'd be playing and everything like that. Hear him walk in, we make eye contact, and all he say was "get off," and that was literally it. And I just knew I was like,
yep,
it's my time.
Gotta go.
I was like, no argument, no nothing, bro. I'm like, all right, because I knew I was a little brother, you know, like I had no say, you know. So I just knew, and then like, you know, he pretty much would game until he had to do homework. I would take a little short 45 window to play that game again, get off, and that was it. I was like, all right, it's yours, you know.
That was the same thing with mine. Like I always had to play on his accounts because I couldn't create my own, or else he would just straight delete it. He's like, nah, this is my console. He would just get rid of it. So I had to play on his secretly. And I remember vividly, like when Modern Warfare 3 was a thing, I would always run the P90 in Modern Warfare 3, and he would never touch that gun. And with that game, you could see your weapons progression, so like how often you use it. And one weekend he was just gone. I don't know where he was. I think he went down to like Virginia to see some of his friends or whatever. And he came back, and I got his P90 gold because that was the only gun that I used, and he never used it. So he saw that I got the gun gold, and like I think it like I can't remember if I'm remembering this correctly, but I swear he gave me like a look of like, all right, don't do that again. But you know what? You did a good job this time. Thank you for getting that gun goal.
Yeah, he's like, good shit, but like stay off the console.
Yeah, good job, but like don't do that shit again. Don't touch it. But yeah,
that's funny.
Sharing stuff was that honestly like it's tough. Nice. It's nice having your own stuff because you can play whenever you want, but you ain't gonna get any kind of memories like that anymore. Like that shit. No, that is
definitely not.
Age. That's
it was peak.
All right. Getting into the Apex, a little Apexy. So content with Apex, it's relatively stale. It's hard to really get on the game and consistently grind it, especially if you're doing it for a job. You know, you always see people on Twitter like complaining like, oh, why did the pros complain about the game? Or why are content creators always just like not wanting to play and saying, oh, this kind of sucks as my job. Oh, it would be fantastic to play, you know, games all day and have that be your job. When your job is super stale, even if you're just like doing like a warehouse job, it's going to get boring. It's the same thing with Apex.
Yep. For sure.
If no content is being pushed out by EA, it's going to eventually get boring. And there hasn't been that much content. There might be like a few couple of events with skins and stuff that cost a crap ton of money to even buy in the first place. So the only thing that Apex has really brought out is kind of like Control, which they took away. Apparently they're bringing it back for the new season, but also arenas. Besides those two things, what kind of game modes would you like to see Apex kind of bring in? It could even be like a game mode from like Call of Duty, Halo, a different game, or even just something that you just come up with off the dome.
Yeah, no, for sure. You know, rotating LTMs, I think, is one of the biggest things that Apex can benefit from, because I feel like right now there is no type of like casual lane. You know, it's just straight like battle royale, which is filled with sweaties and SBMMs cranked to the max, and then ranked. You know, but not everybody wants to grind ranked. But in terms of modes, obviously Control being the number one mode where you can, you know, respawn, you can pick your loadout, stuff like that, because, you know, the most fun in Apex is its actual gunplay and how the game feels and shit like that. So Control, obviously number one. The first one that came to mind after that is almost a mode where you can all pick the same legend. So imagine like 3 Pathfinders on one team, or 3 Mirages all ulting at once and having 16 different decoys in a little small area or in a building. Like, I would love something like that, you know? Also, Dummy's Big Day I thought was really great, where there was no abilities, right? And it was just straight gun skill and just straight gunplay. I thought that was a lot of fun as well too. Maybe like where you have like a raid boss, because I know in Overwatch they have this thing called like 11 kids and 1 dad or something like that, and so you have like one big boss who has like a shit ton of health, and then all the other people who are the 11 kids, they're all real players still, and so is the raid boss, and you just all try to take down this one raid boss. So maybe like they can have an oversized huge Gibby, right, with like 11 little race, and you all just try and take down this Gibby and shoot him while he has like 10 million health, you know? Like, I think that would be hilarious. That would be fire, you know? But just modes like that, or even like a forge or like a workshop where someone can create their own modes or create their own type of layout. Like, I know R5 Reloaded has that, where you can kind of like, you know, put things down and like make different things and kind of like customize stuff. So if they had that type of customizability, right? Is that even a word? I don't even know the word.
Now.
You know what word I'm looking for.
It's a word now. It's a word now.
But having that type of customization, there we go, would really benefit Apex in the long run, you know? And I don't know why they haven't even done it yet 15 seasons later, 4 years later, you know? So yeah,
dude, the meme content that would come from an oversized Gibby, dude, if he ever throw his dome, it would just be a real loud bassy throwing some cover for my brother. That shit would be hilarious.
That's how it is in Overwatch too. I don't know if you ever played that mode, but like, whenever they use their abilities as the dad, it's super bassy and super loud. It's hilarious, bro. It's so good, dude. Like, whenever like there's a Reaper, I don't know if you played Overwatch, but like when he does, like when he ults, he's like die. Yeah. So like when he does, he's like die. It's so funny, bro. It's so fucking loud and bassy. It's hilarious.
Dude, it would be so funny. Like, just have like 3 content creators run into the game where you were talking about, like having a squad of 3 all running the same legend. Dude, if you just like were able to like get everybody into like one building and you all 3 throw a caustic alt into a building, dude, that is straight online bullying. But that would be content.
Oh yeah, I just tell you, like, there's so many little things that they could do for content, you know? Like, it would be so funny. It definitely wouldn't be funny for the team in the building, you know, but like it would make for a great TikTok clip or a great YouTube video, you know? Yeah, it would be fire.
Yeah, I wish they had like private mode, like I'm glad that EA is like eventually giving, you know, creators like you and other people for like community games, giving them private lobbies and whatnot and access to that slowly and surely. But it would be so nice to be able to just give people kind of like a workshop implemented into Apex, where you can actually create game modes, save them, and then share it to like the community of Apex. Like if somebody were to create like Infected, everybody loves Infected from Call of Duty.
Oh, I know.
Create something
so
like
good.
that with like a fuse, because you already have fuse where you can just like shoot something out of his launcher. Just do something like that. Just have something where
like almost like a throwing knife.
Yeah, exactly. So just do something like that. Like I remember talking about this, is like if you just steal a lot of like game modes from Call of Duty, like Capture the Flag would be pretty interesting. Or like Hardpoint would be, I mean, Control and Hardpoint's pretty similar, but it's like Domination, Hardpoint kind of mixed together. But like stuff like that, like it would be really nice just having like stuff like that. Or even like Demolition, that's a game mode from Call of Duty that I loved, where it's like search and destroy, but it's got respawn kind of implemented into it. Stuff like that, just honestly just steal stuff from other games and just make it look so simple.
No, for sure. Like I can't tell you how many times where like I'm playing pubs and Broken Moon comes into rotation or Storm Point comes into rotation, and I'm like, I don't want to fucking play this, and I don't want to go and play ranked. I don't want to go play arenas, you know. But like I could literally kill time while still playing Apex by playing these different LTMs or playing these different game modes, you know. But like they just don't have it right now. They just don't got it.
Unfortunate. Do you think like so like how in Fortnite they have the events where, you know, the map changes, or they just have different like items always being introduced even in the middle of the season? It's not just a seasonal thing where season 15, let's bring in a new gun to the game. They'll even just drop some new stuff in there, or even some like new abilities or something. Do you think Apex would benefit from like in-game events like that, just like how Fortnite does? Or do you think it's do you think Apex is a little bit too mature? Because I mean, Fortnite is obviously kind of like targeted towards the younger audience, and I feel like Apex is a little bit more matured and, you know, grungy, and it's not super, you know, cartoony and childish. But those events, some people find it cringy and whatnot, like adding like a Travis Scott, like, you know, what was it called, concert to the game,
or like some people, Marshmallow concert.
Some people find that cringy. But do you think Apex could take that general idea and then mold it to their own thing, and it would be beneficial for the game, bringing in new players and retaining its player base?
No, I definitely think it could benefit in so many different ways, you know, because like it's gonna all collectively put someone. I honestly don't think they do it because of the servers, and they can't handle like all the server load and all the people kind of playing at once, you know what I'm saying? But I think it could for sure benefit not only from a player base, but also content creators too, because everyone's going to want to watch that content when it comes out too. I remember when COD, you know, they did like the Godzilla versus King Kong thing. That was an in-game event where you could literally see them fight in game, you know, and it was super fucking cool. You know, even like with Apex, the first thing that came to mind is that when Storm Point came out, they had that big ass like bug, you know what I'm saying? And that was like a part of the map, but they could have made that an event, right, where like the bug comes out of the fucking shore and like you have to fight it or something like that, and then it eventually becomes a part of the map, so you feel like you're actually a part of this like ever-changing, you know, world in this universe, not just like logging in, updating it, and everything's changed already, you know what I'm saying? Like it almost feels like you're kind of disconnected in a way. But if they do it where like, you know, you're actually living through it and you get to be a part of it, then it feels like you actually were a part of this universe and you actually had some type of like impact, you know what I'm saying?
The inclusion of the community just makes it a lot more immersive, and actually wants to like keep you there. Like how you were saying with like how you might think that some of the in-game events can't be achievable just because the servers can't handle it. R6, Rainbow Six Siege, they had this season called Operation Health, I believe. I don't play the game, so I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. But like they just did they just did a complete overhaul of the game. Like they didn't add anything new. They just fixed everything, every problem, every nook, every cranny. They just fixed everything that they possibly could in one season. Do you think Apex would? Do you think it would be overall beneficial for them to do that, or do you think they would lose too many people in that kind of like whole season timeline of not adding any kind of new content? Or do you think it would be beneficial overall for Apex to do something where they don't release any kind of like new map, they don't release any kind of new character, gun, anything like that? They just fix, overhaul, tick server rate, different servers, maybe definitely fixing the audio, which is non-existent half the time. Like, do you think it would be beneficial, or do you think it would hurt the player base?
I don't think it could hurt the player base at all. And I know a lot of, not only content creators, but people in general have definitely been asking for a season like that, where they say, fuck the new content, fuck bringing anything new gun, new legend, new map, whatever. We just fix the core issues of the game that have honestly been a part of the game ever since this game's release, in terms of, like you said, the server tick rate, the audio, obviously the no regs, because I still get no regs to this day. Like, it doesn't make sense to me how you have a $3 billion FPS shooter and half your bullets still don't register. And nothing pisses me off more when that one bullet could have killed that enemy, but it didn't register, so you end up dying for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so annoying. It's so frustrating sometimes, So I think if they actually just took some time to really set aside putting out new content and be like, okay, what can we fix about this game? What can we improve on already within the actual formula and the foundation that we have? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think they would not only have a lot of people returning to the game, but they would please an already community that they have right now playing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
My food's at the door really quick. I hate to fucking cut you off really quick. I'll be right back, okay?
Go do your thing. Go do your thing.
30 seconds.
Do your thing.
I'm so
do your
sorry,
thing.
okay? I'm sorry.
Like how you were saying earlier with I believe it was R6, where you can kind of create and like tweak different things within Apex. Kind of like how CSGO has, where you can kind of create your own skins, and like you have a market where skins are valued at whatever the market actually determines the skin to be. Like a Dragon Lore is expensive, but that price fluctuates due to the want and supply for that actual skin. Do you think implementing something like that for Apex would be doable with different skins? Because there's skins from like season 2 battle pass, like the flatline skin from the season 3 battle pass. Everybody likes that shit. Everybody wants it. It's a great skin, and a lot of people can't have it because they didn't play it in season 3, or they just didn't buy the battle pass, or whatever it couldn't be. Do you think that EA would somehow be able to implement that in like 2023 or just in the future years to be able to have a market where people can buy and sell different skins and trade it from accounts? Because I know right now, just recently with Apex, you can gift people different things within the game. Do you think that they'll eventually be able to move into that realm where you can buy and sell skins from other players from account to account?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't think so, right? Because I think EA is a little too greedy for that. I don't think they would allow that. I don't think they would allow being able for players to have some type of profit for just playing their game, or at least getting lucky, you know what I'm saying, in terms of like loot boxes or something like that. Like, let's say they do get a rare skin, you feel me? And someone else wants that skin. Let's say they get like a rare race skin or something like that, or even like one of the prestige skins, you feel me? Like, you pay around $150 when it does come out, but I mean, like, you have to kind of rely on heirloom shards after that, you feel me? So someone could sell it for, $170, $180, a little bit, like, more than what you paid for, and still get that $20, $30 profit or whatever, I don't think EA would allow that, because they're just way too money hungry for that. They want way too much money to go back into their pockets, and I feel like with Apex being the game it is, I just can't see it really like working out like that, like they already have a lot of systems that they should add before that, in terms of to improve the game and to improve the overall quality of life and just the community aspects of the game. So if they did add something like that, I feel like it would be way later down the line. But no, I don't even know if EA would do something like that, just because they're so money hungry, and they would hate for, money to go back into other people's pockets that's not theirs,
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, what do you think that they might do that if they added like a EA tax, so like a 5% sales tax on each sale would go back to EA? Because like how you were saying, like with the prestige skins, it costs 150, but say if the market like determines that skin's actually worth 300, right? With that's $150 going to the person if there's no like revenue split. But if there's revenue split where it's like 50-50, then EA gets $75 and then the other guy gets $75 as well. They both make profit, and they're both adding stuff. Like the person who wants the skin gets the skin. The person who's trying to sell it gets the money that they want, and EA is also profiting on top of the $150 skin that person who sold it for already bought it for. So they're making even more money, and then everybody's happy. Do you think that EA would do that, or do you think EA is still just too greedy to the point of where they're like, it's too much work to implement it, and it's just too much to actually handle and deal with?
See, like it makes sense, right? And I understand it, but I also think EA is riding on the fact that they understand that when you do get these prestige skins or when you get these heirloom skins, like it releases dopamine in your mind, you know, and it makes you feel good and stuff like that. But you also not only have that, but you have some type of like exclusivity, right? When you get these skins, because you feel like not everybody in the game has them because they're so rare, you know?
Yeah.
The fact that like you could just buy it off the marketplace, you know, and you don't actually have to like buy the loot boxes, but you could just buy the skin directly from the marketplace. I feel like EA wouldn't really like settle with that, because then people would just buy the skins that they want. And yeah, you could do that with the heirloom shards that you want right now, you know, but it's more of like a gamble, you know, a surprise, what is it, loot mechanics or whatever the fuck they called it, you know, like they kind of ride more on like the psychology aspect of it rather than just spending straight out money to get it, you know, like they want to get, like, rather than you just buying the skin you want and then be done with it, they would rather you continue to keep gambling and continue to keep trying to go for that next one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like once you get it, bro, right? You get it, you're like, oh fuck yeah, I got it now. You level it up a little bit, you toy with it, you have it for like a month, and you're like, I want another one. You know? And so like they're just gonna keep going, and they keep riding on the fact of you trying to gamble for that next heirloom or that next skin that you want, you know?
Yeah. That makes sense. It's unfortunate, but it does make sense from like both perspectives. Because whenever EA drops a new event, right, for like the R99 skin, Wingman, they always have the pay to win skins, but for the event skins, it's never the pay to win like version, right? Yeah. Do you think EA is doing that on purpose? Because I know that they've like heard from like people on Twitter's like complaining like, oh, just release, if this skin was to pay to win, I would use this 24/7. You think EA is doing that on purpose, or do you think they're just so unbelievably oblivious that they don't even realize?
I think they for sure are doing, you know, at least on purpose to a degree, you know, because they do know, like I said, like they ride on the psychology factor of it, and they know probably a lot of these people, like they probably get data from Respawn, they talk to the Apex devs, stuff like that. And they know that people want this skin, but they want to low-key keep it away from them for as long as possible to build that hype and to build that like greed aspect of it, you know, like that you have to have it. And so when it does come out, right, the longer people have to wait for it. So when it does come out, there's going to be even more people who want to get it, you know, or who want to buy it or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like they try to just like ride that and keep that away from the players just long enough where they won't forget it, right? But they also will still buy it when they see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think they definitely are doing that shit on purpose.
there was this one skin that came out. This was like the first Halloween event skin. It was a Wingman skin, and it's like a clown, and it's fully like,
I remember that.
Dude, I love that skin so much. I would use it every single day if it was just the nice Wingman, like the pay to win one. Is there any skins that you have that you use that a lot of people don't use, where it's either like a unique skin or it's a rare skin, or you just don't see other people using? Is there any skins that you run specifically?
There isn't any one that I can think of that I run specifically that I know a lot of people don't run. But one skin that I always liked, but that a lot of people didn't like, is like the Rhino like reactive 301 skin. I don't know if you remember that. It was like,
that's the season 2 thing. Yeah,
back in the day, bro. Like the blue one specifically, like I always liked it. Like I always thought it looked so cool. And like, yeah, it's chonky whenever you ADS, and it definitely like obscures your view when you're shooting at someone. But I always thought it looked so cool. And people was like, why are you always running that? Like it looks so ugly, and they low-key bullied me to switch off of it. But I've always liked it. I always thought it was such a cool skin. I always loved like the noise it made too when you knock someone. It's like,
that thing is so loud. You can't hear anything.
But that's why I liked it so much though, because I thought it was so badass. I thought it was so cool.
Dude, I wish I liked the skin. Like I like the idea, but the gray on the actual Rhino, it looks plasticky. If it was like a metal or something like that, oh, that would go so hard.
No, I could definitely see that for sure, 2000%. It did look kind of like plasticky.
It looks like one of them those Nerf guns that you get at like Walmart for like $30.
I know, bro.
And they're not even the real Nerf guns. They're the off-brand ones that just try and look like Nerf
Literally,
ones.
Bro, like the super basic ones, and half the time they don't even shoot right, bro. They get jammed and shit.
They get jammed as soon as you shoot it.
Literally, bro.
But yeah, that skin is so loud. The reactive skins, bro, they are loud.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But I mean, I liked it back in the day. I still like it. I would run it, but there's just so many better skins nowadays.
Hey man, I respect it. I respect it. There's this Wraith skin. I don't remember what it was. It It was when solos first came out in Kings Canyon. It was that event where it's like I can't even I don't even know how to describe it. It's like tribal-esque or whatever. It's the Wraith skin where it's got the red face paint and it's like kind of caked onto her.
Talking about.
But I used the blue recolor of that skin.
I remember that.
So
it's like more like blackish, bluish.
Yes, that's the one I rock. That one. Everybody's like, "Oh, that's a cool Wraith skin, but you should use that one." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, totally, dude. I'll switch it right now. What am I doing? I'm so stupid. Should have been using that one." No, dude, that blue one is so clean. That one, and then also the phase walker where it's kind of like a space helmet one with.
Ooh, I used to love that one back in the day. It used to be my skin back in the day. I love that one so much. It was so gas. I also like the clown Wraith skin one too. You know what I'm saying? Like I think she had like the red hard eyes. You know what I'm talking about? And like her gloves were like kind of reactive. I forgot exactly what it was called, but I remember it came out. It was like a free like Amazon Prime skin or something like that. I always loved it. People hated on me for using it, but I always thought it was so cool.
Dude, I don't have Amazon Prime connected to my EA account. One skin that I wish I had was the Kraber neon skin where it's all black.
I remember that one.
Dude, that one goes so hard. Anytime
I don't think I have it either.
I love my Kraber skin, and anytime I pick up a Kraber, I automatically like change the skin to my skin. But if I ever pick up that Kraber and it's got that skin, I ain't touching it.
It's so gas. I don't think I ever got it either because I was like, oh, I don't really care for it. But then I see like how rare it is and also how cool it looks like actually in game. I'm like, damn, I wish I would have got it, bro.
It's so
wish I would have got it. Yeah, no, it's gas.
All right, going into networking, because you're somebody who plays with a lot of different people. You also play with your kind of like friend group, but you also branch out and play with new people, and you're always very friendly, and everybody loves you in the community. What's kind of the best way to organically like gain new friendships? Because it's always hard to go up to a streamer that you admire and you like, and it's like, hey man, can we play? That streamer probably gets that question 10 times per day, and that's not necessarily the best way of asking it. So how do you or other people, would you say, is it best to organically, gain friends within the community without coming off as like needy or any kind of way?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think one of the main things, right, is being very self-aware of like where you're at in your streaming life and your streaming career, and also like within like your lane and also your content. You know what I'm saying? So you have to look for people who are obviously around like the similar size you are. Let's say you average 30, 40 viewers, right? You want to look for other 30 to 40 viewer streamers like in the directory that are streaming and stuff like that, and just hang out in their communities, hang out in their chat. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't deliberately just straight up like ask like, yo, can we play sometime? First time you ever meet them, or even the first day that you're hanging out in the community, because it comes off very off-putting. It comes off very disingenuine. But like, you have to go about it in a natural way, and you just hang out in their communities, get to know them a little bit. And then eventually, if they're looking for people, you could be like, hey, you want to run some games sometimes, or even DM them off stream sometime, whether it's on Twitter or within their Discord or Instagram, and be like, or anything like that, and be like, hey, like, I love your content. I love your vibes. I stream myself as well. So if you ever want to run some games, like, let's add each other or something like that. I always tell people you kind of have to feel it out and like kind of like feel the energy, because you could go about this, right, and do all these things, and still it could, be kind of like, it could be weird energy to some people, so you always have to kind of like read the room and go about it in a natural way. Like if you're forcing it, then it probably isn't going to work, so you have to go about it in a natural way. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's other people out there, and you just got to run with them. Also, solo queuing, just straight up playing the game and using your mic, whether you're playing pubs or ranked, right? Eventually you're going to find someone else who has a mic as well, and you might be friends with them, and who knows, they may be a streamer. Or even if you find someone who has like TTV in their name, or or anything like that, there's streamers who play the game every single day who play pubs, and so you might run into one of them and you might be friends with them like that way. Like I've definitely met a lot of like my other streamer friends just simply by playing the game and running into pubs with them or running into ranked with them, and then we just hit it off from there. So just by playing the game, or even just like searching around people who are similar in size.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes,
I mean, a lot of people, I feel like I love whenever I see somebody come into Twitch chat, and it's because you can always see whenever it's their first message. So it's like first time viewer saying, hey, can I play with you? It's like, bro,
so weird. So
you've never even been here, man. Like, come on.
So bad.
So I get what you're saying. Like, I know some people might not like the answer of like kind of like realize like your own lane or your own bracket of like you gotta work your way up the bracket in a sense.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the easiest or nicest kind of like truth of like to that answer, but it is true, because you gotta like you don't see Hal playing with just some random Jimbo from a pub game that he met two days ago.
Yeah,
you kind of gotta
you have to prove yourself.
Yeah, you have to prove yourself. So what do you think is like the most organic way to get in front of somebody's eyes? Like, say if you're super antisocial and you don't like messaging people, or you're too afraid to ask somebody to play, what's like the most organic way to be able to get in front of people's eyes without self-promoting or having, like, let's just say you don't have TTV in your name. What's like a very organic way of getting in front of people's eyes or getting into an algorithm?
I think, like I said, right, is just hanging out in other people's communities. You know what I'm saying? Because like people recognize names that they see consistently, you know? Oh, excuse me. And so if you're constantly hanging out in someone's stream who is similar size to you, or someone you feel like you want to network with, you know, then once they recognize your name and they see that you're constantly in there and stuff like that, they may just pop the question and be like, hey, do you want to play one day, you know? But you also have to like prove yourself in terms of like, you know, that you take yourself serious at the end of the day. Because if you're just streaming for like a hobby or doing content creation to pass the time or whatever, do you think people who actually like see this as their job, or who want to make it their job, they want to play with you? You know, do you think they really want to like play with someone who isn't taking this serious? You feel me? Like, they're not going to waste their time, you know? So you have to also have that type of, you know, you need to make that decision. Like, are you really doing this for a hobby and doing this to meet people, or do you want to network and actually try to grow your brand and, you know, hopefully make this a career one day, you know? And once you make that decision, then you can kind of go from there as well too, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think so? I've been seeing you posting a lot on like TikTok and stuff, and actually doing really, really good on TikTok. Do you think like some of your TikTok like viewers, like first time TikTok viewers, they've never seen your YouTube, your Twitch, any other social media, first time seeing you is on TikTok? Do you think, or have seen a lot of people coming from TikTok to Twitch? Have you seen like viewers transfer from one platform to the other?
I think when I had my videos, right, and I had like some of like my best videos in terms of like performance and views, right, when that was happening, I did see a lot of people like come from TikTok and stuff like that. But I think for the most part, people like to stay on the platform that they're already comfortable with, you know? So like, let's say they watch YouTube videos most of the time, they don't really watch live streams, they're more than likely going to stay on YouTube, you know? Let's say they just watch TikTok clips and they don't really care to come to live streams, they're more than likely going to come to, you know, they're going to stay on TikTok and stuff like that. But that shouldn't discourage you from continuing to try and post those clips and constantly trying to link your Twitch channel where you can monetize yourself at, and have them hopefully come and check you out when you're live. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't stop you from doing that, because I can guarantee at least one person out of 100 is going to come to your stream. And that slowly adds up. That slowly builds up. I always tell people, you know, one day at a time, one step at a time, one brick at a time, you know? Anything in life worth actually kind of working for, it's always a marathon, not a sprint. You know, you can't have that instant gratification mindset. You know, you got to have the long term in mind and the long term in play. You always got to play for the long term. You know what I'm saying? Because that shit will always outwork, and it will always it'll always outweigh the short-term type of things and the short-term type of plans and ideas. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely do think it can work, and people do transition from platform to platform. I feel like if they're more accustomed within the world of gaming, but if they're like a casual who only really watches like content like that, like off work or during their lunch break or whatever, you know what I'm saying, then they're probably not going to care. But if they're actually involved like that, then they will definitely transition platform to platform.
For somebody who may or may not know, when it comes to working with brand deals or contracts or sponsorships, those kind of companies and employers really like to look at every social media you have. They like to look at TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and all kind of like interactions, and like the amount of outreach that you can actually give to them. And like, say if you do a HelloFresh kind of like deal, how many people can that deal from HelloFresh reach out to your community? Do you think that TikTok is a highly valued platform for brands? Like, say if you have like 50,000 people watching you on TikTok and 50,000 people watching you on Twitch, versus 2,000 people watching you on Twitch and 100,000 people watching you on TikTok. Do you think that one platform holds more value over the other in terms of like outreach numbers when it comes to brands and contracts to be able to negotiate?
I think when we're comparing Twitch to TikTok, right, or honestly any platform to TikTok, then that other platform is definitely going to outweigh TikTok, because with TikTok, right, the viewer retention is there, right? But like I said, these people on TikTok, they like to stay on TikTok. They're not really going anywhere else, you know, unless they get paid to do so, or unless they really like your content and they really like what you're providing them. You feel me? Yeah. But in terms of like one platform meaning more than the other in terms of monetization, I do think Twitch holds the most monetary value, because those are live viewers and you could put something right in front of their face. Like 800 viewers on Twitch is a lot more important than 80,000 viewers on a YouTube video. You know what I'm saying? Because on a YouTube video, they're just going to watch it. They're just going to be like, oh, whatever, I don't give a fuck. They're just going to skip right past the sponsor, right? With Twitch, they are forced to watch that live content. And people nowadays, they purchase off of emotion, right? So if you're a good salesman, you know what I'm saying, and you're selling this product, and you filled that emotion that people need, or that void. Let's say someone's hungry and you're doing a pizza sponsorship. You know what I'm saying? You throw that pizza in front of their face and be like, damn, that looks good, I'm finna order one, you know? But with YouTube, right, they're more than likely not gonna give a fuck. They're just gonna skip right past the segment, you know? Like they're just gonna get to the actual content that they came to the video for, you know? So on Twitch, I think it definitely is like at the top in terms of like monetary value, in terms of sponsorships, brand deals, all that stuff, right? TikTok, not so much, because people really don't, I guess, transition off of TikTok. They don't really go to different platforms unless they really fuck with you and stuff like that. YouTube is probably, you know, second. Instagram's pretty good as well, but it's probably, you know, third, but TikTok's definitely at the bottom of the barrel.
That makes sense. Because with YouTube, they recently implemented the thing where like whenever you hover over the timestamp bar, or like however long the video is, you could see wherever the most viewed stuff. Yeah, you could see whenever the most viewed portion or replayed portion of the video is, and anytime that there's like a brand deal within that video, it's always right when the brand deal ends is like the most like played version. So everybody's just skipping that. And like, you know, one thing that Sweet Dreams does that's perfect is like, even though this isn't necessarily like a brand deal or anything like that, anytime, like, say if because he's always about dry humor and whatnot. Anytime that like he has a bad game, he's like, oh damn guys, that really sucked. You know, 5 gifted subs would be really, you know, helpful for me right now. And then you'll just see people like spam the Twitch Prime and then gifted subs. They
love it, bro.
So
they absolutely love it.
You know, you really did change my mind. I'm not gonna lie, because I did value YouTube and Twitch on similar levels of importance of actually like what's important for brand deals and whatnot. Because with YouTube, like you said, you can reach 80,000 people with one video, and chances are you're not going to have 80,000 live viewers, but you can reach 80,000 views total on a video. But chances are they have their own, you know, free will to be able to skip a video or, you know, just overlook the brand deal or whatnot. But if you're like how you said live and you're a good salesman or whatever, like whenever Hal does like a Raid Shadow Legends stream, he's always just like, oh dude, yeah, this is how I warm up for tournaments and stuff. It's like, no, that's not how you warm up for tournaments. But he'll pitch it to you, and he'll keep like reminding you of like, oh, can we get this download? Oh guys, we're only 5 downloads away from the goal and whatnot. So just having that live kind of car salesman-esque kind of like conversation between the viewer and the actual streamer can really help like push a brand deal or just push whatever goal you're actually trying to achieve with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And because it's live, you know, a lot more people are more inclined to like just, you know, people impulsive buy. I do it all the time. I know everybody does it, you know, but with Twitch streams, like I said, if someone really likes that streamer and they support them, they are going to check that out no matter what. Even if they don't buy anything, they're at least going to click that link. And in a brand deal's eyes, impressions and link clicks, sorry, I can't speak, is so much more like important to them than someone just like skimming over their YouTube video, or how many subscribers they have on YouTube, or like how many views they get on average. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all live, right? And like with Twitch streams, right? people like to feel like they're a part of something live and they get to see it like firsthand. Like, you know, you can't recall how many times, right, where like you got to see something live and in that moment you felt like really fucking cool, like a concert, or even like with the recent like World Cup, like you watched that final game live and you're like, holy fuck, like this is going to be memorable for years, you know? It's the same thing with Twitch streams, you know what I'm saying? So people would rather watch that live, and if they don't watch it live, they feel, it almost feels like they're missing out on something, you know?
Yeah.
So like when they're watching it live, like that's the perfect opportunity. Like, boom, here's a sponsor, boom, here's a product, boom, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And that is always going to be more important, in my opinion, especially in this day and age, like for brands than anything else. Even with like YouTube live streaming, you know what I'm saying? Like just live streaming in general, I feel like it's so much more important than like a YouTube video or even like a TikTok clip or whatever, you know? Because like I said, people just skim right through it, you know? They don't really care. They're just going to go to the actual content that they want to watch, you know?
It's kind of just like putting a product in the person's hand and letting them field test it and like actually try it out, versus rather than just showing it to them like, oh, it's in the background of the stream. What do you think about that? That's cool. I hope somebody asks about it, rather than just like, oh, look at this, just kind of like putting it in their face without like, you know, just pushing it onto them, just really just trying to get them to click the link or be at least interested in whatnot. So
exactly. No, for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. Man, I'm not gonna lie. The Twitch does make a lot more sense. That makes a lot of sense. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've always, because you know me, YouTube has been my main thing. I do like to stream a little bit here and there, but YouTube is my main thing. So I've am a little bit more biased towards YouTube, just because it's my field of or like my comfort kind of zone. But that does make sense, because it like how you said with like the concerts and whatnot, as soon as you see something live, it makes you feel more part of the moment. Like, say if you see a clip of somebody hitting something really insane on stream versus you watching it 30 minutes later on Twitter. If you saw it live, you get to see the whole chat reaction and
chat's reaction, the streamer's reaction, everything, you know?
Yeah.
It almost feels like you like genuinely missed out on something, like, you know, like something special. And that's the biggest thing.
If you had one brand, because I know we've been talking about brand deals and stuff, if there's one brand or one company that you would want to work with that you haven't already, what's like the number one thing that you would really, really want to work with, even if it doesn't even closely relate to gaming or your kind of own brand itself? Just one company that you would want to work with or have a collab with.
One company, I think. So a lot came to mind. But I think one that I really do want to work with, which I think is potential as well, is probably Power GPU, right? Like the company that builds PCs and stuff like that. I've always wanted to work with like a PC building company and have some type of like discount code, because I can't tell you how many times people in my chat, like they play on console. They're like, oh, I wish I could have a PC. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. You know what I'm saying? And even if they can't afford it, right? I want to be able to work with a company like that, and a company like Power GPU, where I could give PCs away completely free, you know, because I can't tell you how many times people, like I said, have came to my chat and said they want a PC, but they just can't afford it, you know? And like, I feel like with me being a content creator and a streamer and the platform that I do have, and I'm not bragging or trying to sound like douchey or egotistical, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I could provide people with some of these computers and hopefully get them off the console, you know, because you know, not everybody wants to play console all day life, you know. They want to get on PC, they want to get with like, you know, the best players, the best graphics, the best performance and stuff like that, you know, but sometimes they just can't afford it. So I would love to work with a company like Power GPU, where one, I could have some type of like discount code where they can get a discount code and not only support me, right, but also support Power GPU and get a sick ass solid system, you know. Or I could work with them in terms of like a big giveaway where I give away 5 whole PCs, you know, all paid for. All they have to do is sign up and follow me, you know what I'm saying? So I could do something like cool or something special like that, you know. But yeah, I definitely want to work with Power GPU.
That, I mean, like you said, that's definitely a possibility, because I mean that fits perfectly in line with what your line of work is with gaming and whatnot. So I mean that does
so
work
funny.
out pretty
Actually, well. I just gave away a PC with them in collaboration with Vast as well, which is like another giveaway kind of Twitter page. And we give away a whole PC for Christmas too, you know, but it was like a 3-way collab kind of, right? So I would love to like do something special with just me and Power GPU, just boom, you know, no middleman, no nothing, just us, boom, you know, we're locked in, you know. So hopefully, you know, in 2023, hey, Power GPU, if you watch this, hit my DMs. I know you follow me, I follow you. Let's work something out.
Hey man, I respect the hustle, and especially when the three-way deal. I mean, that's a foot in the door. They know your name, you're on their list and stuff. Like when I used to review products for just like techie kind of stuff, as soon as one company has your name kind of in the database, companies share their names of like who they always recommend.
And they
like
remember too.
Exactly. Like if you leave a good impression and they work out really well, they're gonna send you a bunch of crap. I remember this one company called Sades. I haven't worked with them in a long time, but they sent me over like $1,000 worth of products, and I was like a 300 subscriber YouTube channel at the time. I was absolutely nobody, but they put so much trust into me, and they liked the kind of work and communication I had. So it's just like, and from then on, not only did they show me a lot of love in terms of like asking me for opinions on stuff or sending me products, but they also recommended me to other companies. So as long as you have a foot in the door with like one company or two, chances are they're eventually gonna, you know, recommend you to other people, or they're gonna want to work with you even more. So having that three-way deal that's big. So I mean, as long as you got the foot in the door, baby,
yes, sir.
That's looking solid.
Yeah, excited. I'm all kind of like to also go off of what you said too. I always encourage people, right? And I always tell people that having a good head on your shoulders and just being a genuine human being, right? Whether it's any industry, whether it's gaming, whether it's music, whether it's art, whatever you want to go into is going to carry you a lot further than any amount of numbers will. Okay. Because like numbers, they only take you so far. Like, yeah, you could have 1 million followers here. You could average, 10,000 viewers here. Right. But if you're a shitty person, a toxic person, you don't care about other people, you're selfish, shit like that, brands are not going to want to work with you in the long run. You know what I'm saying? They may see your numbers initially and be like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? But then the second they start to actually kind of like, find out who you are and what you're about, and like, let's say your track record, let's say you have a history of being toxic or being late on things, or just being very combative and not really trying to be like, work or work things out. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to want to work with you. Hey, and your name spreads. Like you said, word spreads, your name spreads, and it's not going to be in a positive way. It's going to be in a negative way, you know? So like, just having a good head on your shoulders and just being a good, genuine human being, and also, leaving a good first impression is going to carry you a lot further than any amount of numbers will. I can guarantee that.
100%. And I know that we were earlier talking about, like, even if you're just somebody who's really small and you don't really know how to connect with other people, just like playing a game, like building those, you might want to play with somebody above your bracket and whatnot. But as you go with those brackets, you get more and more connections. Like I remember this guy named Double O Negative, who's also in the community. He's a really awesome guy, and I've done a casting gig where I just casted like a tournament of Apex or two, and I would have never gotten that job unless it was for a Double O Negative, because he recommended me. He was like, oh, this guy's played he's played competitively, he's a nice guy, he's very, within the community, people know him, people like him, he could drive some like traffic our way. This guy is a nice guy, let's see if he wants to cast and pair him up with somebody who would also put him in a position to actually do well and whatnot. So shout out to Double, because he put me in a position that I honestly, I would have never been in. I was never like super crazy, outgoing and interested in doing casting. I would have liked to try it, but I never would have taken the steps to actually do it. So he put me in a position and gave me an opportunity to be able to take that. So as you go up that quote unquote like tax bracket of people and like tiers of like level of higher numbers and whatnot, you're going to build more and more connections. The same thing with brands. Like you might start off with one really small brand, but the more and more brands you work with, the better your track record looks, and the more brands who are going to want to actually work with you.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree 2000%. And there's no shortcuts either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember like when I first started streaming, I worked with some pretty smaller brands too as well. I worked with like these energy companies and stuff like that. And I can't remember exactly what they were called, but they were super small dudes, just starting out just like how I was. But I was grateful to take anything that I possibly got. You know what I'm saying? But over time, right, and just, with hustle and hard work and consistency and stuff like that, you get to work with these dream brands that you may have thought it would never even possible. You feel me? Like, I always wanted to work with Manscaped, and I knew that was gonna like. I believed in my mind. I just kept telling myself, I'm like, I'm gonna work with these guys one day. I'm working with these guys. I'm working with these guys. I'm working with these guys. And thankfully this year it actually came to fruition. And I was actually one of the first Twitch streamers that they ever worked with. And so they ended up like after me because I did like they liked what I did so much because my content is kind of like similar to what they have going on. You know what I'm saying? Talking about balls, butt cheeks, all that shit. So it was so simple. I didn't have to like be someone who I wasn't. I was literally, it just happened all naturally. And they liked it so much that they saw Twitch streamers as an avenue that they could kind of like tap into for marketing and shit like that. So now you see like, example like Taxi and Zenim and all these different other like, Apex streamers starting to get brand deals from Manscaped. But that's because of your boy right here. You feel me? But I'm saying all that. I'm not like I'm not saying any of these things to kind of boast or sound egotistical, but I'm saying all that like as long as you work hard and as long as you continue to put your name out there and you kind of like put yourself in front of these brands and stuff like that, then word of mouth spreads, and you always have to put your best foot forward. And like, you always have to give 110% for this shit, because if you just half-ass it, or if you like kind of just put in minimal effort, like the brand is going to see that. Right. And they're like, oh, thank you for your work. But in the back end, they'll be like, we're not going to work with this guy again because he's just doing like the bare minimum. He's only here for a check. You feel me? He's not actually here to promote our brand and to try to make us some money too. He's just here to make his money and leave, and they're going to see that and never work with you again, and like for some people that may be fine, but I mean later down the line, like, let's say you want to work with these brands again, you reach out to them, they're like, hey, thanks for reaching out, but no thank you. When you could have done a better job in the beginning, and then you reach out again 2-3 years from now, they're like, hey, yeah, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Let's work again. So you always got to put your best foot forward no matter what you're doing,
Yeah, it might not hurt you in the short term, but it's gonna affect you in the long term, 100%.
For sure, yeah. For sure.
And I mean, I 100% agree, and I definitely don't deter anybody from working as hard as they possibly can. But kind of going into the last, big topic is burnout, man. When you work and work and work and work and work, you're eventually just gonna poop out. Like Mr. Beast, I mean, he's on top of the world right now, and he just works and works and works. And like in an interview, he said that the way he works is he doesn't do it like a 9 to 5 or anything. He goes for like 2 or 3 days in a row where he's just doing like 16-day work days. And then like the next day or like after those 3 days, he'll just sleep all day. He'll just take it like 1 or 2 days off, but then he'll just go back to it where he does like 3 days of 16-day works, and he just consistently does that. And there's other people in especially in our community where it's like Brother Enoch, We the People, people like that who just do absolutely insanely long grind streams
all the time.
And that's what they're known for. Like they're known for doing those big grinder shits and stuff like that. Like I know We the People, like especially where that's his thing, where like people, especially like the higher ups, like Rogue always consistently rated him. How did the same thing. A lot of bigger streamers showed him love because they saw like, oh, this guy is grinding 24/7. He wants it. But
yeah, for sure.
Burnout is so inevitable. It's going to happen to everybody. It's happened to me a few times. I know that it's happened to you.
Me too.
Yeah, it happens to everybody. So even though it's inevitable, what do you say is the best way to try to avoid it?
I'd say one of the best ways, honestly, is just kind of setting boundaries for yourself, like, and also finding out what works best for you. You feel me? Like you have to also take time and realize that at the end of the day, streaming and stuff like that, as much as it's fun as it may be, as much as like the self-improvement or the overall grind may be, like you have to also take care of yourself too, take care of your body, because I know a lot of these streamers and content creators, we're ordering DoorDash like I just did, we're eating fast food, we're not drinking enough water, we're not stretching, and that eventually all affects your mood and stuff like that too, like what you put in your body and what you don't put in your body in terms of like hydrating and stuff like that, it genuinely affects you and stuff like that. It can make you feel depressed, more tired, you have less energy, stuff like that, and I know a lot of streamers, they forget about that, like I can guarantee a lot of streamers probably don't exercise either. We really don't go outside, all of those type of things. And so I think as if you focus on you and make sure your well-being is good, burnout is less likely to happen. But you also have to constantly try new things too, you know, because if you're constantly doing the same thing over and over and over, like you said, like with a warehouse job, like any job can get boring, or you can feel burnout if you're constantly just doing the same thing. So you have to like switch it up sometimes, switch up your routine, stuff like that. And like I said in the beginning, like I think the biggest thing is like knowing your boundaries, knowing when to stop, like listen to your body, listen to your mind, you know, because your mind can play tricks on you, yes, but if you're feeling the same feeling for a month on end, 2 months, 3 months, where you're like, damn, like I really don't want to stream, but I feel like I need to, or damn, I really don't want to play this game, but I feel like I need to, or like, damn, I feel like I should take a break and like go do something else for a while. More than likely, you're feeling that for a reason, you know. And I say that because I felt that way earlier this year. I think literally the longest time I ever took off from streaming and content creation was this year. I took a whole month off because I focused so much on streaming and trying to make this like, you know, a career and pay my bills with this and go as far as I possibly can for 3 years straight, barely taking any time off, you know, consistent 6 to 8 hour streams a day. But it eventually caught up to me because I got fat, bro. Like I was so unhealthy. Like I wasn't taking care of myself. I barely went outside, didn't exercise. I stopped talking to my family, who means a lot to me. And I was just like, who am I? You know, like what happened to me? You feel me? Like what the fuck? So I had to take an actual month to just kind of like unplug, decompress, and just figure out who the fuck I was again. You know, look at myself in the mirror and be like, okay, what are my hobbies outside of streaming? What do I like to do that doesn't involve any content creation or this job? Like, who am I outside of this? Because that was my whole identity, just streaming. And I was like, okay, if streaming fell off tomorrow, if Twitch disappeared tomorrow, who am I? You know? And so I had to take the time to figure that out. And I know if I didn't, I was going to become severely depressed and just fall further down the rabbit hole. You know, because I was like, I knew like I was like, so where I was at in that moment, I was staring down at the rabbit hole ready to jump, you know, because I was like, damn, bro, like, where the fuck am I going? Like, who am I outside of streaming? Like, who, like, I genuinely, bro, like, I didn't know who I was anymore. Like, I had like some type of like, I forgot what the fuck it was called, bro, but imposter syndrome, right? Where like I was playing all these different personalities and like I was super high energy and super happy and stuff like on stream. Second I click end stream, I'm just like, what do I do now? You know, like I didn't have anything else. You know, it was just all stream. And so I know for a lot of these guys, and I'm not calling any of them out, but I know for a lot of these guys, they're in a similar situation. So you just have to manage your boundaries and know when to like, okay, like I need to take care of myself. I need to take a step back. You don't necessarily have to take a break, but maybe stream a little less and actually take care of your body, you know, because if you don't, that's just going to catch up to you in a couple of years. You know, you may not see it now, but you're going to start to feel it in a couple of years when your knees start hurting, your legs start hurting every time you get up, bro. You're not stretching, you're getting fat, you know, you start feeling like shit, you start like getting angry, you start getting a little bit more irritable, you can't sleep at night. Because I went through all that shit, man. It was terrible, you know, but I'm doing a lot better now. Literally complete 180, bro. I think I'm probably like, you know, the happiest I've been in my life in a very long time. You know, I'm starting to take care of myself a lot more. But like I said, boundaries, bro. You got to set them boundaries for yourself. You got to actually manage your time correctly and set them boundaries, man. Because if you don't, you can go off the deep, man, bro.
Yeah, just being self-aware is just so incredibly important. Because like, some people might tell you, oh, you seem a little off, and like how you said, like when you're going down that rabbit hole, you become more irritable. So like smaller things will set you off and tick you off. So if somebody says, oh, something seems off, you're gonna just flip a switch and you're just gonna be insanely mad at them and whatnot. And you just, like how you said, you just become a completely different person. Literally, you're unrecognizable to the people who have been there since day one.
Exactly.
Do you, because you were talking about how gaining like an outside activity that has nothing to do with streaming, like how important, if at all important, do you think it is to have that outside activity be disconnected from streaming? So basically, like, say if you pick up karate or something like that, right?
I used to be a black belt in karate too. It's so
really
funny. Yeah, I took martial arts as a kid. Like, you know, people have their sport growing up, you know, soccer, baseball, football, whatever. Mine was martial arts. So
yeah. All right. Well, you know what? I don't. Please don't fight me, man. Please stay away, Mr. Black Belt.
I'm one of the most kindest, most pacifist people you ever meet. I've only been in like 2 fights in my life, and that was back in like elementary and middle school. So
hey, I can vouch that for anybody who's watching. As soon as I saw this man in person, arms opened up, biggest bear hug. 100%.
I don't fight.
100%.
I can defend myself. I say that I can defend myself if needed, but I'm never gonna throw the first punch or anything like that. Like I just think it's pointless to fight 99% of the time.
Vibes. That's a vibe.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is to gain an outside activity and not expose that activity to your stream? Because you can gain an outside activity like karate, and say if your stream doesn't know about that, right? And then you tell them about it, then you're kind of like intertwining that with your work.
Yeah.
And that's your thing, to be able to get away from work. You don't want work to be, anywhere in your mind whenever you're doing karate, because it's your getaway, right? So do you think it's important to not expose that activity to your Twitch chat so then it becomes eventually intertwined with each other? Or do you think that doesn't really have any value or magnitude?
Yeah, well, one, I think it's very important to have hobbies and different activities outside of streaming to kind of keep you sane and also make you feel like a human being outside of streaming, But honestly, I think it kind of differs from person to person when it comes to actually telling your stream and your community about your outside activities. Some people like that, right? Some people like to be open. For me personally, I love being open with my community and let them know, like, how my day was, what I'm planning to do, stuff like that. I feel like it not only helps me, but it probably helps them too. So I really don't mind it, but I know for some people, for example, Brandon, he's a very private person, he kind of doesn't really share too much about his personal life or what's going on like in his day or stuff like that, and that's completely fine. That's, just for him and stuff like that. I think it just kind of depends on the person, if I'm being honest, but I do think having that outside activity or hobby or whatever it is, whether it's painting, whether it's snowboarding, whether it's skateboarding, riding a bike, or just reading, I think that's so important because it also connects you with who you are, like within your inner self, right? And also reminds you that you are a human. You know what I'm saying? You're a human at the end of the day, bro, and you have emotions, you have feelings, and you're not just a streamer or a content creator or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember, I'm just going to use this as an example. I watched a Lil Baby documentary, right? Lil Baby, the rapper, he has a documentary on Netflix, and it's actually very insightful. I know it sounds funny, but it's very insightful, right? But he says this one quote. Yeah, no, he says this one quote, right? Where it really stuck with me, okay? And he said this one quote. His name is Dominique, right? But he said, Lil Baby is a rapper, but Dominique is a businessman. You feel me? And I was like, damn. So he was really, he knows how to separate the two. You feel me? So with me personally, right? Like obviously Dre and Draynilla, that's my brand. Draynilla's a streamer, but Andre Joseph, that's me right here talking. You feel me? That's the man that likes to have deep spiritual talks. That's the man who holds his family very dear to his heart. That's the person who, loves animals, that type of stuff. You feel me? And so I think it's very important to remind people who not only create content, but whether they're on, a social media influencer or, they do music or whatever, to have that type of separation and remind yourself that like your job is not who you are and your work is not who you are. Yes, it has like some, like it's your passion, right? And you put part of you onto like, let's say the pen and paper, let's say into your music, into your content creation and stuff like that. But it's not truly who you are. It's just your work. You know what I'm saying? It's what you put out to the world and what you want society to see you as, rather than who you are actually deep down. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense. I mean, like how you were saying about the baby, kind of like with his quote.
Yeah.
I remember watching a documentary about Kanye, and I know, he's up in the air right now. He's interesting right now. But at least when the documentary came out, it made a lot of sense to me when he said, like, if you're a fan of Kanye, you're a fan of yourself. Because Kanye believes in himself so much. Like when he first started out doing music, he wasn't a rapper or anything. He just produced music, beats for other people, right? And everybody told him that he couldn't be a rapper or anything. One song, he got into a car crash and like his whole mouth was completely. Yeah, he recorded a song in The Wire. Like when nobody else is there to tell you, oh yeah, you can do this. When you're like in the worst spot possible, you got to believe in yourself and you got to be like, okay, I still believe, even though like the whole situation I'm in, the opportunities that I don't have, everything is so shitty. You can't give up on yourself at that point. So that's why, like, I try and explain that quote to people about Kanye. But as soon as they hear Kanye, it's, oh, no, Kanye this, Kanye that. But, like, that quote, it matters a lot to me because it's like, bro, if you, as long as you're self-aware, like even Kanye's song Runaway, it's that entire song is just him saying, like, I fuck up here. I do terrible with this. I'm really bad at this. I'm sorry for this. It's a whole apology song. And like, I never like that song when I was growing up, but the older I got, I was like, wow, this song, like it's meaningful. Impactful. Yeah, it's meaningful. There's a lot of power to that punch. So whenever, you know, you have a quote, like some people think like quotes are stupid. It's like, oh, just live your life. Nah, some quotes have a lot of validity to it. And it's like, if you know, not necessarily take the quote exactly what they say 100%, but you kind of like twist it and like turn it to exactly how you should be able to use it and whatnot, it's perfect. So that Kanye quote means a lot to me. And same thing with you with the Lil Baby quote. It just, it means a lot.
Yeah, no, for sure, bro. And I always love stuff like that. You know, it really means a lot to me. And that self-awareness, you know, I think is also very important to not only growing your brand, but also just becoming like evolving as a human. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing parts of your life that you should work on, parts of your life that you like, right? Parts of your life that you want to evolve, I think is so important. And so when people tell me that like, you know, they're perfect or they feel like they have nothing to work on, or like or one of my biggest red flags is when I'm starting to meet someone, whether it's like, you know, relationship wise or just a new friend in general. And I ask them what some of their goals are or ambitions and they tell me, I don't know. And I'm just like, oh, okay. You know, like it's a red flag for me because I'm like, okay, you don't know what you want out of life. You know, like you don't have a direction that you want to go, you know, like you don't have anything that you're really like striving for. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's you. Don't get me wrong. Like it's your life. I'm not judging whatsoever, but do I want you in my circle? You know, do I want to be associated with you? Do I want to be around you? Do I want to hang out with you? You know what I'm saying? Like that's one of my biggest things. Like for me too, I know that I'm one of the most indecisive people that I know. You know, I have such a hard time coming to a conclusion, but that's something that I want to work on, you know, and that's something that I'm trying to at least improve upon, you know, somewhat. But that having that type of self-awareness and knowing who you are, I feel like is not only important like within, you know, content creation, but just life in general, you know, and trying to level up your life and trying to become the better version of yourself that you envision to be, you know?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm very ambitious. So even if the thing that I want to achieve just isn't achievable, like if I want to fly, ain't no way I'm flying, but I could somehow make it happen with like, I could jump. You know, I could do something.
Exactly. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. So I mean, like I agree. Like you don't necessarily have to have a step-by-step plan, but you got to have at least like a guide or like a direction that you want to go. Yes.
Yeah, somewhere that you're at least looking towards.
Yeah, if you don't even have that, it's you gotta get a grip on life, man. You gotta get a
firm
little,
you know,
firm grasp.
At least something, you know. Give me something like, oh, like I want to be a doctor in the future. I want to be a nurse. I want to make music. I want to do this. I want to do that. But when people just say like, oh, I don't know, you know, just wherever life takes me, I'm like, all right, I'll be seeing you. You have fun with that, okay? You're good. All right, you have fun.
One thing that I feel like some Twitch streamers do, and nobody necessarily in particular, but some streamers do this, where they're so caught up in what people see of them, right? Because their whole career is based off of, you know, the public eye, yeah. So they get sort of caught up in terms of like, oh, what does my chat think about if I did this, or what does my chat think about if I did this? It's hard to really work on, like how you said, how you differentiate yourself from Draynilla. You differentiate that. So how do you, besides like doing an outside activity or something like that, right? How do you think somebody who doesn't go out much, because most gamers are introverts, they're not going to go out and do a bunch of like crazy different stuff.
I agree.
Realistically, besides just doing that, what do you think is a good, honest way for somebody to improve themselves outside of improving themselves from gaming? Because I'm a firm believer that like if you don't have anything to talk about on stream, you're going to be a very boring streamer. Like you can make stuff up to talk about, but if you have constantly things going around you, if you have activities or stuff to talk about, you can not only like talk just in general, but you can also like really not communicate, but really just get, I can't even think of the word, but like damn.
No, I know what you're trying to say.
You can just connect with the person better. You just connect with the person better, and it's just so much like easier to actually talk with your chat because you're not forcing anything and you're not talking about what you don't know about. So what's some way realistically that a gamer who's like kind of antisocial, introverted can really improve on themselves outside of like the public eye or streaming?
The first one that came to mind honestly was, taking care of your body, like I said earlier. But like going to the gym, right? You don't have to go to the gym, just going outside and exercising, going for a nice walk, right? That is such a huge help in not only your mental health, but your physical health. Because like once you start to make it a habit, right? You start losing some weight, you start like, looking better, you feel better, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Also cleaning up your diet, when you eat better foods, more healthier foods, you feel healthier too. And in turn, you create better content and you just overall have more confidence, because like when you're constantly putting, slimy, greasy, nasty stuff in your body, that's exactly how you're going to feel, and like, yeah, it may taste good and it make you feel great in the moment, but over time you're going to regret it, But I think the third is just like kind of doing some soul searching and asking yourself, okay, like what interests me, like what brings me peace, what brings me happiness, what brings me joy, because everybody has that. As humans, we all have that. Even if you don't know what it is, you still have it. You may not know now, but you will know eventually. You feel me? You just kind of have to try like, new things and things that kind of spark your interest. You know what I'm saying? Like There's people who love reading. There's people who love watching anime. There's people who love robots. There's people who love building PCs. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. Like there's something for everyone. You feel me? So you at least have to like try new things, and eventually you're going to find something that you truly like. And you have to do things in life, right, that make you feel good rather than look good, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? There's so many people within our generation and nowadays who only do things to look cool to other people, right? Or to look like they have like the best thing or the better thing, or like they're doing the next coolest thing or whatever the fuck it is, right? And so when you stop focusing on doing the next coolest thing and you try to lead your life by how things feel, right, rather than how by things look, then I promise you'll live a lot better life. You live a happier life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because people, like, if you go off of like just feelings, like what makes me feel happy today, what brings me joy, what brings me inner peace, stuff like that, you constantly do those things. You make a habit to do those things within your life rather than just to look cool,
Yeah.
Because like people do things just to look cool, but it doesn't even make them happy. It doesn't even like actually bring them joy. It doesn't bring them actual fulfillment. I'm like, why the fuck are you doing it then? Like you're not fooling anybody. Like anybody who's actually like real, right, or like a genuine human being, they see right through that shit. And they'd see you just like as a fake person overall. Like you lose that inauthenticity. Is that even a word? I think that was inauthenticity. Yeah.
We're
like,
adding to the dictionary all night, baby. All night.
Literally creating new words and shit, But you get it, Like
Yes.
you lose that type of like feel that you have, like that uniqueness that every person has,
Yeah. I'm a massive shoe person. Like that's what I collect. That's where I spend my money on. And I never understood why some sneakerheads like buying shoes that they don't even like. It's just trendy. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like if you're spending that much money on a shoe, for no reason. Enjoy it. And it's like how what you're saying is like kind of relating to it is like, if you buy stuff that other people will like, right? That trend is eventually going to die out eventually, right?
For sure. Yeah.
So it's like you're not even doing it for yourself, you're doing it for somebody else. So if you base your happiness off of somebody else, like in their thought process of you, and you're buying something for that person, that person's eventually not going to like it, and then you're not going to like it either. You never even liked it in the first place. So it's like if you buy something for yourself, or if you just do something for yourself in general, it's going to be so much more beneficial in the long term, because everybody likes somebody who's confident. Everybody loves somebody who's confident. And if you buy something that makes you confident yourself, and you don't even care if other people like it or not, like if just for example, a shoe, say if the shoe's super ugly to everybody else, but you really like it and you rock it and whatnot, even if it looks ugly to some people can pull off outfits that other people can't. And it's like, if you look good, you rocking that, and it's looking real good on you. So it's like, you just
bro. Like, confidence is contagious. You feel me? Especially like when you're feeling yourself and you truly like believe like this is fire, bro. It'll more than likely make other people believe that it's fire too. And that's why like some salesmen are so good, because they have the confidence in their product. Like it could be a dog shit product, bro. Like bottom of the barrel, horrible product, right? But the fact that you can sell it and that salesman is like, yeah, no, it's gas, and like they're saying all these great things about it, has great reviews. They could be lying to your fucking face, right? But because they're like so confident in it, it makes you believe it. It's believable, and it makes you in turn buy that product,
100%.
Well, it's all about confidence, baby.
It is all about confidence.
Yes, sir.
So as a streamer, right? I feel like there is a little bit, if not a lot of it, disconnect between a viewer and a streamer. Obviously, building a community is fantastic, and that's something you definitely strive towards 100% of the time. But there's going to be some people within some communities that just have a disconnect. What's a disconnect that you consistently see, maybe not only in your stream, but just in general with other streamers, between community, like a viewer, and actually the person who is streaming? Like, what's a big disconnect that some people might not just see eye to eye on, that you could take the time to like elaborate on, like something?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people just in general forget that we're real human beings too. You know, like just because like we're behind a screen playing video games for a living doesn't mean that we're robots and we don't have emotions as well. You know, like as I was talking about, like, you know, earlier this year when I took that month break, I was so depressed, right? I didn't want to do anything with my life. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere because I didn't know who I was. I was like, okay, where do I fit in? And like in my mind, I believe I didn't fit in anywhere because I didn't even know what I liked or where I even like had a place. You know what I'm saying? And so I had a real talk with my community about that, but then other people, like mainly the frogs, not my real community, but just like the frogs, right, who are looking from the outside in, they made me feel bad, right, for like not streaming, and they almost made me feel like I was taking for granted what I had. You know, they're like, oh, well, if I streamed, like this would never happen to me. I'd still just push through it and I'd be streaming. Like, how the fuck can you be depressed playing video games for a living, you know? And like, so they made me feel bad. And like, I feel like that's where a lot of disconnect happens within the streaming community. And they think that just because we play video games or we're living like the dream, quote unquote, that we have no problems whatsoever, or that we have no type of issues in our lives. Like, nah, we're human too, and we deal with our own demons and we deal with our own realities just as much as anybody else, you know? Like, we're no different. We're no special person. We're no, you know, holy angel. You feel me? Like, we're humans too, man. Like, we deal with shit too, bro.
Yeah.
And so that sucked. Like, I genuinely had a lot of people who like made me feel bad for not streaming as much. Like, I remember one month, like I came back after that and I still was kind of inconsistent with my streaming because I was kind of getting back into like the swing of things. Like, I used to stream like 150 hours a month, right? And then like the next couple of months I was barely streaming like 60 or 70, you know, like pretty much half my hours. And then people within the community, like not my actual OGs, right, who genuinely care about my well-being, just people who wanted to watch my content and who enjoyed it, but like didn't really care about me like that, you know? They were like, oh, why is it Dre streaming as much? Like, is he just like bored? Is he just like lazy? Like, what's going on, you know? But they had no idea. You know, just zero idea. But like, I'm sure that they didn't mean it in that way, but there was like some type of disconnect there, you know, and I could definitely see it. And in turn, it worsened my mental, you know. Now I'm good though, like I said, like, you know, but at the time, right, it like made me feel even worse for not streaming because people were looking forward to my stream and I wasn't streaming. And I was like, damn, I'm just a terrible person overall, you know. But I know that now, like, that wasn't the case at all. But obviously, when you're in that state of mind, you know, you kind of just believe anything at that point, you know.
Yeah.
It's no, there definitely is some type of disconnect with, like, you know, people not thinking that we're humans too, and we have, you know, emotions and feelings as well.
Yeah, it's definitely like how you were saying, it's the person who might be saying it has good intent with what they're trying to say, but the way it comes off and the way it actually makes the person feel can be completely different. So you know, you don't necessarily always have to be on, you know, on icicles with people and, you know, treat everybody like they're a snowflake or anything like that, but in different times where somebody's actually bringing up like a more serious topic, like you gotta first think about what you're trying to say, and then thinking about, okay, if I were to say this to this person, how does this probably gonna make them feel? Because I know, like how you said, like you're on a way larger scale than me. But when I took like a few breaks or whatnot, I had some people be like, dude, you're bigger than some people will ever get in their life. Like, you're taking this for granted. Like, you gotta really push through it and stuff like that. And it's like, man, like I wish you could be in my position. I genuinely mean that, so you could see and feel what I'm feeling, because it's not as easy just pushing through. It's really definitely difficult. Because I'm just coming off of a break, because I'm in college and I'm finishing up my degree, and it's not necessarily the easiest degree. So it's like, I really got to put my back into it and stuff. So my community knows that, like, hey, during my semester and whatnot, I'll stream and create content as much as I can and as much as I want to. But, you know, taking that break, it's also kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, taking that break is not only better for your mental, but it hurts. It hurts.
Yeah.
And now that I'm able to come back, like I want to create content, man. That's the only thing that's on my mind. Like yesterday, 13-hour stream, waking up today, I want to do this, and then I want to edit a video, and then I also want to stream. Like, dude, I'm all about the content. So it's like,
yes, sir.
Taking that break is
keep that momentum.
Yes, sir. It's definitely worth it, but when you're at that low, I mean, this career definitely has a lot of highs and lows, and those highs are really high, and those lows are lower than you'd probably feel in any other field. It's really bad because you have not only yourself like to deal with, but you also have everybody else's views and comments
looking at you, community, and it's the internet, so people just say whatever the first thing that comes to mind, you know. Correct. And like you have to take that with a grain of salt. You feel me? Like it's the internet, and the fact that people can say whatever they want for free with most of the time no type of repercussions or consequences, they take that and use that to their advantage, you know.
Yep.
And like you get to a certain point where like this does become your job, you know, eventually if you keep pursuing it and stuff like that. And like, you know, that you live your life on social media, you know, you live your life online and stuff like that. And so eventually when you see those comments like that, it almost hurts you in a way, you know. Most of the time you wouldn't, because it doesn't affect your job, it doesn't affect your, you know, your money or your work or anything like that. But you know, like you said, how people perceive you and how people look at you in the public eye, like it kind of affects your paycheck in a way, you know. So like when that one person, you could have 100 people who love you, but that one person who says like fuck you, like I hate your content, like you're greedy as shit, like, you know, no one gives a fuck about you, like that just stings sometimes, you know. But you know,
it affects you
develop,
way harder.
You develop thick skin over time, but like it definitely does affect you sometimes for sure.
Like I do like how you brought that up, where it's like you could have 100 people telling you, oh, you're great, but then that one person stings so much harder than the 100 people telling you that you're great. It's way worse.
Because like, I mean, we're humans, you know. We as humans, we tend to focus on the negatives in our life rather than the positives, you know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to switch my mindset with that. And like what's been helping is that every time like I read something negative about myself, or I think about something negative about myself, I instantly try to replace it with a positive thought. Like I remember like literally today, someone replied to my going live tweet yesterday saying that I took 7 shits that day, but I was about to take an 8th on the Apex ranked lobbies I was about to be in today. Someone replied and said unnecessary info plus L plus you fell off. And I was like, okay. I was like, all right. But the thing is, I went back and I looked at that stream and I literally averaged 900 viewers. So I was like, okay, I fell off. Right? One person telling me I fell off as opposed to 900 average viewers. Yeah, suck my dick, buddy. You know,
dude, this
literally
shit
like
dick. That is, it's so funny. And I, you know, kind of slowly going into like the wrap up of the podcast and whatnot. You and I were both at the LAN and whatnot, and this is definitely like at the time of that LAN, I was creating absolutely no content, no nothing. The feeling, I know that we kind of just like said, oh, 100 people telling you you did great and one person telling you did bad is terrible. But I will say this, and I'm so grateful that I was able to experience this personally, and I'm sure you were too. Like having somebody come up to you in person and be like, hey, and you've never seen them, and I'd be like, hey man, I like your content, I love what you're doing and your shit. Like, can I get a sign or a signature or a picture? Yeah, that is. It's so memorable, because those bad comments, like that's gonna affect you for a day or two. But the people that came up to me at that LAN, oh my god, I can't forget their face. It's ingrained into my mind. It's insane. So
no, same here, man. I agree 2000%. Even with TwitchCon, you know, like I remember so many people who came up to me, and like at TwitchCon, I got to meet a lot of my community, right? Some of my mods, some of my VIPs, man, and like that really, I think, solidified for me that like every name in chat, all those numbers, all that shit are all real people. You know, like they're not just numbers on a screen. They're not like, it looks like that, like, you know, when you're looking at it, but like those are all real people, real actual people. So when people tell me like, oh, I average 50 viewers, I average 70 viewers, I average 100 viewers, I wish I could average more. You have 70 people watching you at once. That's a lot of fucking people. Like imagine a room full of 70 people and they all have their eyes on you. You know, like that's a lot of fucking people, man. Like that's a whole ass, like that's more than 2 classrooms. That's like an auditorium, you know, and they're all paying attention to you, and they're all from around the world too, you know? So I always tell people, I'm like, don't get so caught up on the numbers. Get focused mainly on not only the progression, but the impact and the connection that you leave with people, you know, like as long people nowadays, right? They don't buy into your actual product, they buy into your whole brand, you know? So if you have a brand that they connect with and they resonate with, they will support you for a lifetime. You know, as long as you don't fuck up and say anything racist or TOS or just straight up like Kanye, you know what I'm saying? But like, you know, he's also a good example, you know, up until where he was at, like right now, you know, people buy the brand, people buy Yeezus, people buy his music, people buy everything that involves, you know, that has Kanye involved in it. You know, maybe not nowadays, right? But like up until what he was, you know, doing recently, like, you know, people buy the brand. If people resonate with you as a person, they fuck with you and they will support you for a lifetime, like I said. So
it's so much more important for your viewers and your community to buy into the brand rather than the product, because you can release one product and everybody loves it. But as soon as you release a new product, it's like nobody cares about it. But if they love you and the brand, you can release as many products, and it's like they're just gonna keep buying into it. And it's not like it's not like a predatorial thing where it's like, oh, they're gonna keep buying into it, I could just release whatever I want. You gotta keep, you gotta maintain that, you know, like, you gotta have that kind of like,
that's it.
So it's like you gotta have that level of consistency and with what you bring out. But as long as you have that, people will follow. People will come around and they'll really like fuck with you and everything.
Yeah, no, people love that shit. People love new shit also all the time. So like even with content creation, you always got to be constantly come up with like new ideas, new shit, all that shit, you know? So excuse me. Sorry.
All right, wrapping this up, because I know I want to have some of your food, man. That food, you got me thinking about it, man. The Shake Shack, man. I want some of that now. So wrapping this up, just an invite too. We split that burger. All right, 5 quick little questions, and then we'll wrap it up here. If you had $300 right now, and you had to spend it within the next hour, or you would lose it, what are you buying?
Do I have to buy it? Do I have to buy something, or can I give it away?
You can't save it. You can't save it.
Okay, I can't save it.
No.
Fuck, bro. $300.
Yep, 300.
If I'm being real with you, I'm buying food. I'm buying as much food as I possibly can, bro. That shit, the thing is, right? I feel like food is one of the only things that I value in terms of like money and actually spending on. So I'm buying some fire ass food, bro. I'm taking, you know, I'm not taking nobody, bro. I'm taking myself to some nice ass restaurant, and I'm buying drinks. I'm buying steak. I'm buying everything, bro, and I'm treating myself to a nice ass dinner that night. That's what I'm doing. If I only have an hour to spend it, bro, I'm gonna buy myself a nice ass dinner.
Literally just look at the menu and just order whatever's the most. You don't even gotta like it. You don't even gotta like it. Just have it on the table and be like,
Alaskan lobster from Africa infused with fucking coochie nectar and the blood of 13 lambs. Yeah, it's gonna be fucking fantastic. It's gonna cost like $270 too, but guess what? Hey, I'm buying it.
That shit hits. That shit hits. All right. Whenever you find a song, I feel like everybody kind of just throws that shit on repeat and they just blast it. What kind of song right now are you listening to that's just on repeat that you recently found? Put some people on. Put some people on.
I got you. Oh my God. There's this song I've been listening to on repeat recently. Okay, it's called Wildflower by MDMA. You should listen to it after this fucking podcast too. It is so good, bro. It is
I'm have the link in the description so people could just also check it out, because I want people to. I want you to put people on. If it's that good of a song,
I got you.
I see how excited you got. You're like, ooh shit. Let me take this opportunity, bro. Let me put some people on.
I listen to like a lot of different genres of music and stuff like that. The only genre I don't really listen to is country, if I'm being completely honest. But like I love all types of like, you know, just music in general and stuff like that. Like I love alternative like pop. I love alternative hip hop. I love regular hip hop. I love mainstream hip hop. Like mainly hip hop is the genre that I listen to most. Yeah. But I love like all like little sub genres like hyper hip hop, hyper pop, like all like I love all that shit. And so this kind of falls into like the alternative hip hop kind of genre and kind of style. But like if you're a fan of hip hop in general, then you will fuck with this song.
I feel you.
Yeah, it's really good.
What's something that you collect that Stream may or may not know of? What's something that's like kind of low key, kind of not low key that you collect that you just like you're never gonna get tired of it?
You know what I really like, bro? I love art. I love like any type of like posters, specifically anime posters. Like in my living room, right? I have like 8 different fucking anime posters that I still need to hang up, but they're all on like canvases, like really nice, like plastic canvases. And I don't think I will ever get tired of like just collecting art. Like, as you can see, like I have like all these posters on my wall behind me, but I still have a whole like another box full of posters in my living room, plus those anime posters that I have sitting out there too, you know? So I don't think I will ever get tired of just collecting like just art, bro, because I love that shit. I love cool looking shit, you know?
Bro, speaking about art, this is something I really want to get eventually. I talked to Noko about it a little bit. This is something I really like, and I know that you have it. Tattoos, man. Do you have a specific tat that you really like on your body that like has a special meaning, or is there something that you eventually want to get that would fill that kind of like position?
Well, there's 2 of them, right, that came directly off the top of my head, right? There's this one right here. I call this the Eye of Providence, right? And if you're religious or spiritual in any aspect, then like obviously, you know, this is like God's eye, and like it's always like watching over you. And so whenever I look at it, it always reminds me that God has a plan for me, and he's always watching over me. So no matter like how things stressful may get, or how, you know, down I may feel or anything like that, God's always watching over me, and he's always going to take care of me. You know what I'm saying? So I got that to kind of like always remind myself of that. But then also this tattoo right here, this is a moon, right? And this is my first ever tattoo. I got it on my 21st birthday with my mom. So my mom and I got matching tattoos. So she got a moon and she got a sun on her other arm. So when we put our arms like this, it's the moon and the sun, you know?
That's sick.
But the meaning behind that, right, is that she used to read me this super wholesome, like sappy poem every night before bed when I was younger. And it pretty much goes that like, you be the sun, I'll be the moon, and I'll reflect the light on you when you're, you know, like when the sun is gonna go down or like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of, so pretty much the meaning behind it, right, is that like, you know, unfortunately one day when my mother does pass, because we are mortal, we're humans, you feel me? We're not immortal, we are mortal, we are all gonna unfortunately pass one day. That when my mother does pass, then she's still going to be shining her light on me, you know, from heaven and from up above, and she's always going to be looking over me, you know? So that's why I got the sun, or that's why I got the moon, you know, because the sun reflects the light on the moon. You feel me? So
that's dope.
But yeah, those are definitely my 2 like favorite tattoos that I have so far.
Do you have any tats that kind of don't have any meaning that you just got like impulsively, or do they all kind of have some?
Definitely this flower.
Dude, I was looking at the flower. That flower looks sick.
Yeah. Thank you. I got it because I kind of like, so I got this tattoo. This was my first like big piece right here, like this hand dagger. And then I got this dragon, right? So this dragon was for like, because I told you I was in martial arts. And so I used to be a part of this studio called Red Dragon Karate. Right. And so I got this dragon. I got a red dragon to kind of remind myself of that and like kind of remember that. I got the hand dagger because sometimes when you put your hand out for people, you get stabbed in the hand, you know. So I remind myself to not trust every single person that I run into, you know. I got Super Mario Sunshine, you know, because one of my favorite games growing up. Yeah. Yes, sir. I had to get the little sunshine star right here, baby. But definitely, I think the one that doesn't have any meaning is probably this rose so far. I just got it because it looked cool and like it was a placeholder because I had nothing right here. So I was like, I need to get something right here so it looks like more complete. So it's, you know, just random rose.
Nice.
But yeah.
All right, last question, and I'll leave you with an easy one, super easy.
Yeah.
If you can only choose 3 fast food restaurants for the rest of your life, what are you going with?
Ooh, I think In-N-Out.
Super easy question. Super easy.
I know, but like there's so many different. No,
this is not easy.
Fast foods. I know. So definitely In-N-Out, Alberto's, which is like a Mexican food restaurant.
Is that local?
Or is it is local. Like I think it's like I think it's chain / local. I think they're mainly only in like Southern California, like Los Angeles area. But anybody who's from here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That place be slapping. So probably Alberto's, In-N-Out, and then I'd probably say Domino's. Domino's, bro.
Really?
I fuck with Domino's heavy. Yeah, I love Domino's. I think Domino's is my favorite, like I think like fast food pizza chain because like their pizzas always slap for me and they're at a good price. Like I remember when I was living in Austin, Texas, bro, almost every other night I would go to Domino's, which was down the street, paid $10 for a large 3-topping pizza. I get pepperoni, sausage, and jalapenos, and it was $10. And it was a large pizza, bro. And that shit would fill me up for 2 days straight, bro. And it was only $10. And so I always thought it slapped. I always thought it was fantastic. And so That is definitely my third option there because Domino's is hitting me. I love Domino's.
I respect it, man. I miss when Domino's had the cinnamon sticks with the icing dip.
Ooh, them shits were good. I remember those. Yep.
Those.
I do like their cookie brownies though. I always fuck with those too.
I forget what it's called. It's like one of those specialty things. It's not like a pizza thing, but it's kind of like a breadstick, kind of not like a breadstick. It's kind of like in the shape of like. Yeah, the twists. Those go hard as well. I respect the Domino's pick. I do respect it.
Domino's is gas, bro. Like
it is.
I low key, I just like pizza in general. It's one of my favorite foods. It's usually my go-to food when I'm hungry, but I can't figure out what I want to eat. I usually just get pizza, you know, because it's easy, it's simple, and it always slaps. But I low key love Domino's. Pizza Hut fell off for me, if I'm being honest. You know, it used to be good back in the day, but now it's too greasy and gross. Papa John's is fire. Round Table's fire. Even frozen pizzas like the Giorno, Red Baron, you know. Yes, sir. The Giorno be slapping. I love all that shit. Little Caesars is kind of all right. I mean, it's good for $5, but I mean, you spend an extra $5, you go to Domino's, you know.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion. So, but yeah, no, In-N-Out, Alberto's, and Domino's, top 3.
That's not a bad. That's very broad. On any given day, you're gonna have something different. So I mean, I respect it.
Yes, sir. I'm a man of many foods and taste.
I respect that. All right. Well, speaking about food, I'm gonna let you get back to your food. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you listening to the podcast, the third episodes at a Legends Lounge podcast. Dre, plug anything that you want. I'll make sure to have everything linked as well. But for all the audio listeners, please just tell them where they can find you.
Yes, sir. So pretty much you can find me on all social medias, you know, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, at Draynilla. Specifically on Twitch, it's just Dray, D-R-A-Y, but every other social media that you can think of, it's Draynilla, D-R-A-Y-N-I-L-L-A. I'm most active on Twitter, so if you want to see some funny, crazy tweets, then go follow my Twitter. If you want to see this handsome face and maybe booty cheek shaking, follow my Instagram. And if you just want to see, you know, content from stream, follow the stream or follow my TikTok. So yeah, thank you for having me, Nave. I appreciate it, bro. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate you coming on. This is somebody that I've been wanting to talk to for a while, and meeting him in person, everything, bro. Fucking amazing times. Always a great dude to be able to talk with and chat with, and he's just so wholesome, man. So I appreciate you coming here, man.
Of course, bro. Thank you for having me, man. It means a lot, bro. Seriously. Much love, dude.
Yes, sir. As always. All right, boys. Everybody, all of his links will be in the description below. And you guys can always see the visual podcast form on YouTube on Navelow, Navelow. So, guys, please comment and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. See ya. Bye.